When it comes to war, I think it's a larger discussion of what we value in society.
Here at UBC, a Remembrance Day ceremony took place, honoring and remembering veterans who fought in the war. We went to ask people what Remembrance Day means to them and what their thoughts are on war in 2022.
It's one of the very few days that we kind of really pay attention to veterans, and I feel like veterans are forgotten and often dealing with substance use disorders and mental health and PTSD, and the only time we ever seem to give it any kind of acknowledgement is on Remembrance Day.
The safety that we have, the security that we have because of what our parents have done and the many people before us, First World War and all the other wars.
I think Remembrance Day would be a good exercise if war had been abolished and people were looking back on this foolish exercise called war and saying, good thing we don't do that anymore. Remember all the people who died during war, including many civilians.
For many, Remembrance Day can also trigger emotions.
I do think that Remembrance Day sometimes takes on some problematic connotations with kind of celebrating, aggression and imperialism.
Yastromsky feels that Remembrance Day fetishizes military conflict.
I question whether it's entirely, actually like a solemn day of remembrance, or if it's kind of just, fascination we have with military and violence, weaponry.
This year for many, Remembrance Day has a different tone with the ongoing war in Europe.
War is really harmful and it really hurts people. In the context of the current hot war in Ukraine, that's been a breach of an agreement that was made at the time of World War II, and the U.S. and Russia agreed.
Defensive wars sometimes have to be fought. I think that just simply calling for diplomacy and calling for world peace is not enough. I think, and especially again, if we look at the example of Ukraine, I don't think you can tell the Ukrainians to try and find a diplomatic solution with the Russians, who have very, very clearly expressed that their sole goal is to destroy the Ukraine, not just as a country, but as a national identity.
Many have mixed feelings about the future of society and the ability to solve issues without violence.
Remembrance Day seems to be simply an observation made in the midst of a system of continuous war. I think war should be stopped.
I don't think that war can be a thing of the past, and I think that's actually why it's even more important to keep in touch with that kind of solemn and somber nature of Remembrance Day, to remember that wars have been fought, where many lives have been lost, and wars will continue to be fought in the future, and more lives will be lost.
In Vancouver, Angela Bauer, City News.